Good morning and welcome to superb and sunny conditions here on Lygon Street in Carlton for the 10 Network's coverage of the final stages of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour, and it is going to be a dramatic finale. The streets behind me, as you can see, have been cleared around Carlton for the 2-kilometre Criterium, and the man they're going to be chasing is 25-year-old Simon Gerrans, who opens up a 14-second gap yesterday at the time trial up Mount Dandenong. Let's have a look at how the week has progressed so far, and we started with thousands gathered to see the riders at Williamstown. That was for the team time trial. Savings and Loan taking that out, and Peter Muller was the man in yellow for day one. Then it was Bendigo to Bendigo, 150 k's through the gold mining areas. Denius Corellis from Amore Vita was the stage winner on that one. Bendigo to Shepparton, that was a flat track assault, and this is where Simon Gerrans established his first stage win. But if you watch Gerrans coming across the line, you can see an accident behind him. Josh Collingwood go down, and that meant that Baden Cook was the subject of a commissaire's inquiry. They had a look at the videotape and decided on a 30-second penalty for Baden Cook. Then it was off to Mitchelton Winery at Nagambie, through to Marysville, the longest stage of the tour so far. We had the most sustained breakaway as well, 140 k's for that breakaway, and Sean Sullivan again ended up in the yellow. Then it was all around Healesville to Healesville, through picturesque Yarra Valley wine growing country, and it was Baden Cook and Dominic Perrat who jumped out. The Canadian couldn't stay with Cook though in the closing stages going into Healesville. You can see Cook jump there, and that was back-to-back stage wins for him. Then it was a time trial up Mount Dandenong, 1 minute intervals they went. The Irishman David McCann was the fastest in 21 minutes and 35 seconds, but it was all about the yellow, and Simon Gerrans is the man in the yellow, certainly celebrating hard there. I caught up with him just before the race today, and he showed, well, a touch of nerves, and no doubt as he spoke to us today.
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but I'm pretty confident as well. I've got a strong team here. The guys have done a great job all week and they're motivated to look after me today, so I think we'll be good.
Over 600 k's in the body now, how's it feeling?
Yeah, surprisingly good actually. I wasn't sure how I'd get through this week. Getting to the end of the year, everyone's getting a little bit tired, but I've managed to back it up pretty good each day, so I'm pretty happy.
What's the plan for AG2R today?
I'll just have pretty much the whole team just keeping up front, keeping me out of trouble, making sure no dangerous breaks get away. Perez there on 14 seconds, so we'll be keeping a close eye on him, and also McCann, that's just over a minute. So we'll be watching those guys pretty closely.
Can you believe it's so close now?
No, I still haven't sunk in yet. Maybe tonight.
So you can see Simon Gerrans on top there. The man in second place, Dominic Perrat, 14 seconds adrift. David McCann, the Irishman, in third. Then Mackenzie, Hatton, Portal, Baden Cook in seventh, and Matt Lloyd's had a great tour, and he is in eighth spot. Let's have a look at now the sprint classifications. These have been run and won. Baden Cook has won it. He is in first on 16. Then Hilton Clark and Simon Gerrans coming in at third in the sprint category. Now to the king of the mountain. Peter Hatton's taken that out. Matt Lloyd, as I said, he has had a great tour, and Dominic Perrat. Let's have a look at what they've got to contend with, the riders, and they will be going around the streets of Carlton. It is a 2-kilometre Criterium, 50 minutes plus 3 laps. They'll head out and back on Lygon Street, then around through Rathdown Street. They'll come up Queensbury Street, and then of course back onto Lygon Street. It's time now to get racing as we join our commentators, Matt Keenan and David Colbert.
Magnificent setting for the final stage of the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour, a 50-minute Criterium plus 3 laps. We started with 144 riders, 120 remain. They've been riding for 7 days, 700 kilometres, and the man in the middle of the screen, Simon Gerrans, has got the yellow jersey on. He's a little under an hour away from creating history for himself, his boy's own dream of winning this tour. We're just about ready for a start. David McKenzie is there in the Bicycle Superstore jersey. On the right-hand side of him is Dominic Perrat, who held the lead until the stage yesterday. So we're just about ready for a start. A massive field. It's going to be an exciting race around the street circuit here in Lygon Street. The conditions are absolutely perfect, no question about that. And they're just receiving their final instructions. And the starter's about to go off. They're in the final countdown now.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They're on their way. So for Simon Gerrans, who grew up in Jamison in the high country of Victoria, his mentor is Phil Anderson. He's watched this race go past his primary school, his secondary school, his grandparents' newsagents, and today he gets the chance to live out the dream and win the tour.
Well, he looked pretty calm on the start line, didn't he? He looked like he's got it all in his grasp at the moment. As you mentioned, just an hour away from, hopefully for him, taking out the biggest victory of his career. Yesterday when we spoke to him after the stage finish, he said he's really looking forward to today. He hopes that he'll be able to enjoy it. With the support that he's had there from his team, I think that he'll be able to. But Dominic Perrat won't go down without a fight. We saw in the Tour de France last year when Alexander Vinokurov moved up one place on the last stage when he broke away on that final stage into Paris when he picked up the stage just ahead of Australia's Bradley McGee. We weren't actually going for Vino on that occasion. We were hoping for McGee to get across the line, but it was Vinokurov on the day and he moved up a position in the Tour de France.
It was fantastic, wasn't it? Brad McGee pitching the break across the Place de la Concorde and attempting to get the break. And for the Bicycle Superstore team today, David McKenzie having his second last race. He announced last night that he's going to ride the Melbourne to Warrnambool next week, and that will be it for the Warhorse. He's won 11 stages of this race. He's a good Criterium rider, and so the tactics for the Bicycle Superstore, as we can see McKenzie on third wheel there at the moment, is and he hasn't got much support from his teammates at the moment. They've got to try and conjure a break at some stage. It can happen in a Criterium race, and for AG2R, which is the blue colours of Simon Gerrans, his team just have to shut it all down.
It can happen in a race like this. We saw it happen here last year. It was the opening stage at Lygon Street last year in the Jayco Herald Sun Tour, and McKenzie himself was in a breakaway with his teammate Carl Menzies. But we saw at the front of the field as they were making their way down Rathdown Street, it was Andy Flickinger, one of the teammates, one of the French teammates of Simon Gerrans, who has been brought out here specifically to assist Simon Gerrans win the Tour, as we see David Kemp from the Jayco VS team make his way to the front.
Right-hand turn into Queensbury Street, and if there's going to be any drama today, this will be the place that it will happen, because they scream down the hill. They've got this right-hander. They go about 150 metres, and then they take another right-hand turn into Lygon Street. That's where they are now, and then there's 350 metres back up to the start-finish area. What about Baden Cook today? He said that he wants to win this. This is a big stage for the sprinters.
Well, Baden Cook at the start of the tour, his teammate Matt Wilson said he'll win 3 stages in this tour. So far he's won 2. This is his last chance, and it's where it suits him. Sean Sullivan at the front.
Led the tour for a couple of days early. So early stages in the final stage of the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour. Simon Gerrans is in the bunch. Baden Cook is one to watch.
You never know when your number's up.
8:30 Monday, with one savvy sniper on the loose.
He's going to do it again.
You can guarantee this is going to be one action-pumped, trigger-happy episode.
Try to think like he does. Invisibility is the sniper's greatest strength.
Question is, can they scope him out before he scopes them first? Get down! A gripping numbers, 8:30 Monday on 10.
This is quality. This is elegance. This is Sortino. Our huge catalogue sale is on now, with everything in every store reduced for 10 days only. Sortino, world's best furniture, world's best prices.
100% natural whole grains, full of the goodness of energy, nutrients and fibre. We simply squash them, cook them and pop them into Uncle Toby's Vitabrits. Whole grain cereal that's full of life.
Shannon's don't just insure go-go-mobiles. No. Shannon's insure all the classics, even the recent ones, with agreed value, choice of repairer. And Shannon's don't charge you any extra to pay your premium by the month. So when the car comes first, insure it with Shannon's. You're an enthusiast, so call Shannon's on 134646.
I make grass, cut and run. The new Talon Eagle mower with a powerful 4-stroke engine, unique ultra-comfortable soft grip handle, tough aluminium wheels, high air intake and heavy-duty catcher. The Eagle mower, new from Talon, tough tools.
Oh, yes.
New extra saucy noodles from Fantastic. Too tasty to waste.
2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour continues. This is a shot of the main peloton. We've got 3 riders away and they've got an 18-second gap. And you can see they're well and truly strung out. The AG2R boys of Simon Gerrans have been up the front, just controlling the pace of this group. And the 3 riders away, it's Hilton Clark. In fact, there's the leaders. And that's
Chris Award it is from the Savings and Loans team, one of the South Australians. In fact, he's more of a noted mountain bike rider. And the rider that's with him there in second wheel in the Australian colours, that's Matt Goss of Tasmania, the youngest bike rider in the race. He really has shown himself to be a rider with a huge future ahead of him.
Junior world champion on the track, and the third man there is Hilton Clark Jr. His father was a champion Australian track rider in the 70s and 80s, represented Australia at the Commonwealth Games, and he is a Criterium specialist. He's actually behind Baden Cook in the sprint classification, the Go For Your Life sprint jersey at the moment, and he needs to take out the intermediate sprints and the stage today if he's to displace Baden Cook. And Yongaward's just having a rest at the back, the current Australian mountain bike champion. And the Savings and Loans team from South Australia, they've had a great tour. They took out the team time trial in Williamstown on the opening day, and they had the top 3 places in the general classification for 3 days. Sean Sullivan was the leader, and they're also involved in the crash in Shepparton, where Josh Collingwood and also Russell Van Hout were brought down, and that, of course, created the huge controversy with Baden Cook, who incurred a 30-second time penalty. He was flown by helicopter from Shepparton to Nagambie to take a look at the vision, and he was so upset that he came out and won the next 2 stages.
Well, he's still got another one to go. He's got his last chance here today. The break now out to 19 seconds. This is the sort of move we expect from Hilton Clark. He's sitting in second place currently in the green jersey competition, the Go For Your Life sprint classification. Started the day on 9 points, but we've already had the first intermediate sprint. Hilton picked that one up. That moves him to 12 points. Baden Cook, who currently wears the green jersey, he's on 16 points. So Hilton Clark's got a lot to race for today. He's got the stage to race for, and he's got the green points jersey to race for as well.
Now, it's important to note that whilst the race is on up in front, the race for the overall tour leader and the tour winner continues in the back of the bunch, and none of these 3 riders are a threat to Simon Gerrans. Chris Yongaward is the leader on GC in this group. He's in 21st position in the bike race overall, but he's 11 minutes and 8 seconds behind Simon Gerrans, and in the context of this race, that's 2 or 3 laps.
Oh, it's simply not going to happen, is it? Well, Matt Goss, I might just talk about him for a moment up in that breakaway group. You mentioned it earlier on, junior world champion last year. He picked up 2 junior world titles in the team's pursuit and in the Madison as well, where he rode with a big Queenslander by the name of Miles Ullman. But a little bit later in the year as well, in December of last year, he caught everybody by surprise when he stole a $10,000 cheque from underneath the nose of Stuart O'Grady when he took out one of the big criteriums in Australia down in Launceston. But Simon Gerrans' team of AG2R, and he's got a couple of his French boys on the front here, and Matt Wilson also moving up to look after Baden Cook with another one of his teammates, Fabrice Jean de Vos, on the left-hand side of screen. They're moving up. Cook doesn't want to see this gap get out to around that 30-second mark because it will be difficult for it to reel in. And if his team spends too much energy reeling it in, it's going to be difficult for them to set him up in the sprint.
So Baden Cook watchful at the lead of the chase group here as the 3 riders are away. Let's go down to Ian Cohen, who's trackside.
Yes, thanks very much, David. I'm here with the Deputy Lord Mayor, Gary Singer. And Gary, after a great race through Victoria, terrific to finish here in Lygon Street.
It's fantastic. What better place to finish than in the centre of Melbourne on Lygon Street, where there is a real buzz of spring happening and lots of people down here having a great time. And it's going to continue all through the day. In the afternoon, we're going to have the Celebrate on Lygon Street after the race finishes from 12 to 5 with 4 live stages of entertainment.
It couldn't be more appropriate with so many Europeans racing to finish here in Carlton.
That's right. Well, Carlton is one of our areas where the city began, where many of the migrants came from, and there are real roots from many migrant groups here, particularly the Italian community, who take a great part of Lygon Street.
Gary Singer, the Deputy Lord Mayor, joining us there on the program, and of course plenty happening off the track. That will be after the race, but boys, it's all happening on the track at the moment.
What a day it is in Melbourne. Caulfield Cup Day, and the Commonwealth Games triathlon trials on this morning as well, and this great bike race. So the event city is living up to its name without question as these 3 riders continue to build their lead. And I guess there'll be a time not too far away where the chasers will start to say we need to get a wriggle on if we want to take this stage out.
And that's why we see Baden Cook starting to move a couple of his teammates up towards the front. We saw Jean Deboz move up towards the front there, and Freddie Bichot, two of the French riders on the Francais de Jeu team, get up and try and start assisting the AG2R team to try and reel this break in. AG2R, Simon Gerrans, they're not interested in catching this break, but Baden Cook will be.
The really interesting thing about cycling is that these three riders are opponents for 6 days, and all of a sudden they find themselves in front, and all of a sudden they become best mates.
And a little bit later on they'll become opponents again as they try and work out who it is that's going to take out the stage. At the moment it's in their interest to work together. They'll be sharing the workload at the front. They know that they need to build up a lead of over 30 seconds if they're able to hold off that main field coming into the final couple of kilometres, because once everybody starts to chase up towards the front, the momentum of the peloton just picks up and up and up. And it was also interesting to note, back in the main field, Brett Lancaster, the teammate of Hilton Clark, was starting to move his way up into about 10th wheel as well. That's to try and interrupt the chase, because he'd be more than happy to see Hilton Clark take out the stage win.
It's the unwritten rules, isn't it? If you're a domestique, you're there to work, and even if you're a Baden Cook, if he had a rider in this group, the FDJ as the leaders are out to 32 seconds at the moment. If Baden Cook had a teammate up here, even though he wants to win in front of his hometown, then under no circumstances whatsoever is he able to try and close that gap.
He'd certainly hope to have somebody up there that he thinks can sprint pretty well. He'd be fearful of having Hilton Clark up there with one of his teammates. Hilton Clark is an extraordinarily quick sprinter. We've seen him beat Robert McEwen on a couple of occasions in the Jayco Bay Cycling Classic, where he's finished second place in that overall series. And they're working really well together at the moment. This is Goss that leads them down Rathdown Street, which is going to be one of the corners from when they go from Rathdown Street into Queensbury Street towards the end of the race. It's going to be a key corner, because that's just about 550 kilometres away from the finish line as Clark makes his way through, all just sharing the work.
So here's the chasers, and no question about who's at the front. It's the AG2R teammates of Simon Gerrans, and then it was the FDJ boys of Baden Cook, and that is no surprise whatsoever. What is certain is that the Bicycle Superstore team of Dominic Perrat have shown nothing so far, so it seems unlikely that Dominic Perrat is going to be able to bridge that 14 seconds gap to Simon Gerrans, who's just back about 5th or 6th, and there he is. You can just see him poking out behind his AG2R teammate. So unfolding as you would expect. 3 riders away, 20 minutes remaining in this race.
It's a supersized lineup tonight on 10.
At 6:30, see Monk do his thing in a brand new episode. Then it's an Oprah exclusive with the hilarious Kirstie Alley.
I need my fat pants!
Find out how she went from flab to fab.
And premiering at 8:30.
I'm ready now. She had a face that launched 1,000 ships.
And a body to die for.
Helen of Troy, the movie.
Epic entertainment tonight on 10.
Tai Chi, the ancient art of movement and meditation, has been practiced in China for centuries.
Tai Chi is actually a form of martial art.
In learning the moves, connecting the moves, Grandmaster Henry Su unlocks the secrets of Tai Chi, step by step, over 2 captivating DVDs.
They're together.
Learn the Beijing 24 style alongside the Grandmaster in Tai Chi, learning the moves, connecting the moves. Available only at leading DVD retailers.
The beautifully built Honda Civic GLI now comes with free air conditioning, along with standard SRS airbags, ABS brakes, a CD player, alloy wheels, a clever flat floor for more interior space. And what's more, the Civic GLI is still under 20 grand.
I'll have the wheat flakes, plus dates, plus almonds.
Hey, could I have bran, plus almonds, plus sultanas? I can have the wheat germ, plus apricot, plus apple.
Uncle Toby's Plus. Think of a combination and we've made it. New wild berry now in season.
So AJ, some women dread going to the mechanic, but you found Repco authorised service very different, didn't you?
That whole idea of it being a harrowing experience, it just doesn't happen. Repco authorised service, they do the little things that really make a difference. The guys there are courteous. I'm talking to the mechanic. It's the kind of place that you could send your mother to.
Do they do new cars?
Yes, they can. No problem with your new car warranty.
So friendly Repco service you can rely on.
I was rapt.
This is style. This is quality. This is Sortino. Our huge catalogue sale is on now, with everything in every store reduced for 10 days only. Sortino, world's best furniture, world's best prices.
Feeling like you belong is good for all of us. No one likes to feel left out.
Good mental health can be as simple as having someone to love, something to do, or something to look forward to. So meet up with friends, go for a swim, read, or take a walk. Whatever works for you.
Making contact and helping others get involved makes healthy communities. Together, we do better.
Visit nhca.org.au or call Lifeline on 13 11 14.
Welcome back to the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour. The three riders still away. Chris Yongaward, the South Australian, riding for Savings and Loans. Matt Goss, the youngest man in the tour. The Tasmanian riding for Australia, and Hilton Clark. And here are the boys from FDJ, and Matt Wilson just taking over. Then the AG2R, and Baden Cook is in there, and there's the leader, Simon Gerrans.
Well, it looks like there's a little bit more urgency in the break now. We mentioned just before the break the fact that if it gets out towards 30 seconds, it starts to become dangerous. Now Baden Cook, he's ordered his boys to the front and to start to lead the charge. Matt Wilson has moved up to the front. The AG2R boys that are in there, they're riding for Simon Gerrans in yellow, who's just making his way around the corner now. They're just trying to keep the race under control. They're trying to keep it safe for Simon Gerrans to get across the line. He's just worried about Dominic Perrat, but Cook wants the stage win, and his boys are up there starting to lead the charge.
Well, 30 minutes gone, and the race is 50 minutes plus 3 laps. So when they get to the 50-minute mark, they'll receive 3 laps to go. And then, of course, the race will really be on. And you can see the urgency now as the pace starts to improve. And this has been a familiar sight for the entire tour. The blue colours of AG2R, the French team, and Simon Gerrans has brought them out, including the Frenchman, to set up the victory for him. And the FDJ boys, including Baden Cook and Matt Wilson, it's the last race of the year for them. It's the last race in the famous Clover of the FDJ, because they're off to a Belgium team next year.
They are. Matt Wilson and Baden Cook are both going to the Unibet team, and Mark Renshaw, who we see starting to move his way up towards the front, he's moving to the Credit Agricole team next year, which is the team that Stuart O'Grady previously rode for. 35 seconds now, the lead for our 3 leaders. Hilton Clark at the front, Chris Yongaward from the Savings and Loan team, and the youngest rider in the race, Matt Goss. He's accustomed to beating the fancied riders in races like this in Criterium events. The fact that he's been able to beat a rider by the name of Stuart O'Grady in a similar such event down at Launceston shows that he shouldn't be underestimated, despite the fact that he's just 18 years of age.
No respect. Why would you? When you're an 18-year-old, you're the youngest man in the tour, and you've got such a bright future. The Australian team have been very impressive this week. Peter Hatton, the 22-year-old from New South Wales, who was third in the Goulburn to Sydney bike races, got the King of the Mountain jersey. He's also got the best young rider jersey at the moment. And of course their team included Peter Dawson, who didn't actually start today, Olympic team pursuit squad that won the gold medal in Athens, along with Steve Woolridge from New South Wales, who was in that group as well, and Ashley Hutchison, the team's pursuit world champion. And it's the way Australian cycling works, isn't it? You begin on the track like Brad McGee and Stuart O'Grady, and then you move onto the road, and so many of them have celebrated careers. 10 riders this year in the Tour de France.
Well, there's not too many guys that rode in that Tour de France for Australia that haven't come from a track background. The only exception, Cadel Evans, Peter Hatton, the guy that you were talking about before, his background, mountain bike riding before he came into road cycling. I spoke to Gary Sutton from New South Wales before this tour started. He said, watch Peter Hatton. He is untapped talent and has a huge future ahead of him, as most of the guys in that Australian team do, but it's still the Francais de Jeu team leading the charge with Freddie Bichot on the front.
There's Simon Gerrans. He's got the yellow leader's jersey on. He's easy to spot out, even though he's in the AG2R bike necks. And he's looking to join a celebrated list of riders who have won this title.
We see the...
So there's Gerrans and Baden Cook and his FDJ team just ahead of him. We talk about Simon Gerrans trying to win this title. A man who's won it 3 times is with Ian Cohen.
Certainly is, David Colbert. You can see behind me the Chief Commissaire certainly working very hard to make sure this race stays on track. But John Trevorrow won it 3 times in the 1970s. And John, how do you see the tactics unfolding today?
Oh, Ian, yeah, great day. Fantastic circuit this. I don't think those 3 riders will be able to stay clear, because the FDJ team of Baden Cook, they'll start winding him back soon. They want Baden to win, so it'll be a bunch finish. You'd have to pick Cook as the favourite, but blokes like Carl Menzies, there's some good sprinters here. Hilton Clark, it'll be a great finish.
So Cook to take the stage. What about Gerrans?
I can't see him losing. His AG2R team have been superb all week. They're not letting anyone go.
John Trevorrow knows how to win this race. He did it 3 times.
knows how to run a trivia night too. It was magnificent in Marysville a couple of nights ago. Baden Cook, he's got a horse in the second race at Caulfield today, the 12:05. It's called Airstream. It's called the Jayco Cup. It's well named, that race, and the horse, unfortunately, is 12-1. Baden Cook's about 2-1 to win this stage before the start.
He is at far shorter odds. Matt Wilson, he's put up towards the front now, the former Australian champion. He finished the Tour de France, Matt Wilson, in 2004. Unfortunately, in 2003, didn't finish it because I think he was stung by a bee or a wasp coming up in the last couple of stages, and he wasn't able to get the medical treatment required. But look at that long single line of the main field. They are strung out now under the pressure of the Française de Joux team.
Well, what is becoming more and more evident at the moment is that Simon Gerrans is very well placed indeed to take this tour out as our three riders go around the corner at the top of Lygon Street. They come back down and then take the left-hander into Grattan Street. They'll get a good sight here of the chasers as they come up, and the gap now is down to 30 seconds. They're still working very well together.
They are, but I just noticed as they made their way around that hairpin corner at the top of the circuit there, Matt Goss, he lost the wheel quite a bit from Chris Youngerwood and had to spend a fair bit of energy to get across to him and then come through and do his turn of pace on the front. If he keeps doing that too many times, he's going to spend a lot of energy that he's not going to be able to get back when it comes down to the sprint finish. Hilton Clark won't make any of those sort of mistakes. He's a lot more experienced than Matt Goss. At this stage, it's pretty simple for these guys. They just have to keep working together, stay cohesive as they are, swap off turns, and just try and hold off the main field.
You can see Matt Goss is really working hard to try and stay in touch as Hilton Clark takes his turn in front. It's very much like a team time trial at the moment for this group, and Hilton Clark didn't spend very much time in front there, so perhaps he's starting to feel the pinch as well.
Maybe he's just being cagey. He's just trying to do enough turns to keep them happy and not have them upset and starting to abuse him and try and keep himself as fresh as possible. Let's keep in mind too that Hilton Clark is still racing for the green jersey. He's now just 4 points behind Baden Cook. Another intermediate sprint to come at the 40-minute mark of the bike race. 3 points up for grabs, and that would move him to just 1 point behind Baden Cook, and it would come down to the final sprint for the line.
Deals out on the road. Do they know, the two riders here, Youngerwood and Goss, that Hilton Clark's in that position? Will they let him take the sprint, or will they charge him for the line?
They won't be interested in the sprint. They'll just be interested in the stage win. Hilton Clark, he'll be going for the sprint. So
14 laps gone, 40 minutes into this race, 10 minutes away from the 3 lap to go mark, and the 3 riders are away. They've got 30 seconds, so we're set for an exciting conclusion to the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour.
This weekend, Phillip Island comes alive with all the drama and excitement of the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix.
Oh, so close and off!
2 massive days of big bike action.
Rossi, yes!
The Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix on 10.
Get your kids out of the rent trap.
Plus $17,000 in grants.
With Point Cook Lifestyle at the Greens or Berwick's Village Charm at Golf Links Estate.
Landscape family homes from $239,000.
Unrepeatable value.
You don't even need a deposit.
$239,000 full price, plus extra $5,000 to find grant.
$17,000 in total grants.
No more renting.
Call now before the state drops its grant.
100% natural whole grains, full of the goodness of energy, nutrients and fibre. You simply squash them, cook them and pop them into Uncle Toby's Vitabrits. Whole grain cereal that's full of life.
The beautifully built Honda Civic GLI now comes with free air conditioning, along with standard SRS airbags, ABS brakes, a CD player, alloy wheels, a clever flat floor for more interior space. And what's more, the Civic GLI is still under 20 grand.
It's package deal month at Doors Plus the No Fuss way. These interior doors, complete with handles, latches and hinges, fitted in your home for $1.99 each. Solid timber front and back door packages, both with locks, handles and hinges, fully fitted for only $8.99 the pair. How's this for a modern entry door? Solid and stylish, again complete with handles, latches and hinges, installed for $4.99. All with safe glass and paint and peel. What a deal. And we can paint, stain and deliver. For a free measure and quote, visit a Doors Plus showroom today. Doors Plus, no fuss.
Fly out of the rent trap.
Landscape family homes from $239,000.
You don't even need a deposit.
Point Cook Lifestyle, Berwick's Village Charm.
$17,000 total grants.
Call now.
Before the state drops its grant.
Welcome back as the riders approach the start-finish line, and this is the second of the intermediate sprint, so we'll be looking for Hilton Clark to take this one out, and he's in front, so he closes the gap on Baden Cook. He's up to 15 points at the moment, so he's 1 point behind, and if he finishes second in the sprint home, well, that won't be enough because Baden Cook will get 6 points, so he needs to take out the stage, Hilton Clark, if he wants to take the Go For Your Life sprint classification, and the main group, they're about 30 seconds behind.
That's presuming that Hilton Clark is going to actually be caught by Baden Cook. If this three stay away and Hilton Clark either finishes first or second, he will go into the green jersey. The Go For Your Life green jersey is the winner of the sprint classification. This is the corner which Matt Goss had a little bit of trouble with last time round. Looks like he's got it under control now and been able to stay on the wheel of Chris Youngerwood.
Well, they're starting to get a little bit anxious in the main group as they try to close this gap, and the news for Simon Gerrans is looking pretty good because Dominic Perard, the Canadian, is not omnipresent. In fact, he hasn't been present at all. Let's hear what he had to say before the race, Dominic Perard.
Well, today I think it's pretty much over for general classification. So our team, we've got really good shot for the stage win. So I think we'll try to launch a breakaway with either Glenn Mitchell or Carl Menzies. And if it comes down to a bunch sprint, I think we've got David McKenzie who's got a good shot.
He summed it up, didn't he, Dominic Perard? We should have listened to him before. We're out of it for the general classification. We're trying to set David McKenzie up for a stage win. But these three riders, 43 minutes in, they've got 7 minutes to go, and they'll get the 3 laps to go. And you would imagine that the action is going to begin shortly behind.
Well, I'm sure that it will. When we've got the Français de Jure team on the front, they start to get a little bit tired. Maybe we'll see Dominic Perard's team of the Bicycle Superstore HLP team start to move towards the front. We've just had confirmation that Hilton Clark did win that sprint, so he is now definitely 1 point behind Baden Cook in the Go For Your Life sprint classification. And now it's just one thing to go for these guys. Can they hold it off for the stage win? The gap is still hovering around that 30-second mark. The Français de Jure boys haven't completely lit it up just yet as Matt Wilson. We've seen plenty of teeth from Matt Wilson, though, as well, and John Fabrice Jean de Boz as well.
So Cook's just going around the corner now, and Simon Gerrans was just in front of him, and then the rest of them are all strung out, and we're starting to lose a few. Important to note, if you do have a flat or a mechanical problem in a Criterium, you can have a lap out, so that's no real problem for Simon Gerrans. He'd be, well, starting to celebrate as much as he can. He does need to just be watchful and wary, but he's in a very good position at the moment.
He just needs to stay upright and out of trouble, and that's why he's got all his teammates around him. This is exactly the sort of thing we see on the Champs-Élysées in July in Paris with Lance Armstrong. He's got the Discovery Team tunnel around him.
I haven't seen any champagne yet, though. We normally see Lance Armstrong riding along the Champs-Élysées with a glass of bubbly just to celebrate his win, as we saw David McCann, the Irishman, just checking the time as he went through, and it's a great shot, isn't it, of the riders. What about the communication of the three riders? In a road stage, of course, the teams have the earpiece in and they get the communication from their team managers. Does the same apply on a Criterium?
They'll have the earpiece in. The team manager will be standing on the side of the road. He'll be giving them instruction. It's down to 20 seconds now. They're starting to get their backs to the wall now as the rest of the field is starting to reel them in. This is exactly what John Trevorrow was talking about with his Baden Cook's teammates being able to reel these three in. They've been out there for a long time now.
So the Australian mountain bike champion Chris Youngerwood from Savings and Loans is in front. He's been doing a power of work. Hilton Clark, the VIS Jayco rider. He's an experienced Criterium man. He's won a couple of stages of the Herald Sun Tour in the past. And then the youngster Matt Goss at 18 years of age. What an experience for him. He's up and away. And this lead group, their margin is reducing as the clock ticks, and it's back to 20 seconds.
Well, Hilton Clark, he's a smart man. They're starting to play a little bit of cat and mouse now. They've probably got word that the gap is just down to 20 seconds. Maybe Youngerwood wasn't too happy with the work that Hilton Clark was doing. He's taken a look across the shoulder. Well, Hilton Clark, he's a smart man to go in this breakaway because he probably doesn't fancy himself in a sprint against Baden Cook, and he figured the only way he was going to beat him was to get in a breakaway. And I'm convinced that Youngerwood was not happy with the contribution of Hilton Clark, and he's tried to back him off the breakaway. He doesn't want to have any passengers. He knows that Hilton Clark is quick, and he wants to just work with Matt Goss, but Clark is reeling them back in, and Youngerwood isn't impressed at all. He's looking across the shoulder to Clark.
3.5 minutes to go until they get the 3 laps to go. And well, we've got two races, haven't we? We've got this little tussle up front where the three riders, and as you mentioned, Chris Yongaward expressing his dissatisfaction with Hilton Clark, and Hilton, well, he's going for the stage win. So whilst he wants to try and stay away, they might have reckoned that they've got enough gap here. And Matthew Goss, who just appeared to have a bit of a surge as they came down Rathdown Street, so he's got a little bit left in the tank.
It wasn't so much the surge as it was that Yongaward was trying to back Hilton Clark out. But they probably need to stay together for another couple of laps yet and have the three of them working together, because that's more effective than just the two of them. Well, Hilton Clark at least is sharing some of the workload. He's going to the front now.
So here are the three riders as they go up Lygon Street. This little corner at the top here where they do the turnaround is starting to get really tough, because you have to back off and then you have to work really hard. You see them up off the saddle and pedaling for their lives as they try and just regain their momentum in this corner. And after you've been going for 47.5 minutes, it does start to burn the thighs.
It is very taxing indeed. Well, Hilton Clark's got a teammate back in the field that'll just be sitting about 10th or 15th wheel. It's down to 17 seconds now, so you imagine that they will get caught. And that's a guy by the name of Brett Lancaster, who's Olympic Games gold medalist. He held the pink leaders jersey in the Giro d'Italia this year, and he's one of the guys that you would tip, or you'd fancy maybe try and attack with about a kilometre or so to go when this group gets caught, if this group gets caught, because he hasn't spent any energy yet. He's been able to just rest while Hilton Clark's been doing all the work out the front.
So 18 laps down, but the key time is the time clock as it ticks over to 48 minutes. So in 2 minutes' time, they'll get the 3 laps to go. And you just talked about Brett Lancaster and Simon Gerrans. That's what happened when we came into Shepparton, where Gerrans jumped them about 800 metres from the finish. And Lancaster was thinking to himself, I need to go. And Gerrans did, and they weren't able to catch him. So if it does come down to the bunch sprint, we've got the strength men that can go from a kilometre out. And we've got the speed men who want to leave it to the final 200 metres. It's going to be an exciting finish. We'll be back after the break.
This kid could be Australia's next leader.
Without women's liberation, men would be doing all the work and not letting women have a shot.
6:30 Sunday. See what happens when you put her head-to-head with Australia's brainiest kids.
Then at 7:30.
The 80s are back.
Be a part of Idol's ultimate 80s experience.
Who will rock this retro revival?
Boy George, this will be big audio dynamite.
Australian Idol following brainiest kid from 6:30 Sunday.
So AJ, some women dread going to the mechanic, but you found Repco authorised service very different, didn't you?
That whole idea of it being a harrowing experience, it just doesn't happen. Repco authorised service, they do the little things that really make a difference. The guys there are courteous. I'm talking to the mechanic. It's the kind of place that you could send your mother to.
Do they do new cars?
Yes, they can. No problem with your new car warranty.
So friendly Repco service you can rely on.
I was rapt.
Is a GTS Monaro the love of your life? Do you salivate over big beamers? Or do you like red hot Italian? Shannon's insures all the classics from the 80s and 90s with agreed value, choice of repairer, and
Shannon's don't charge you any extra to pay your premium by the month.
so when the car comes first, insure it with Shannon's. You're an enthusiast, so call Shannon's on 134646.
The beautifully built Honda Civic GLI now comes with free air conditioning, along with standard SRS airbags, ABS brakes, a CD player, alloy wheels, a clever flat floor for more interior space. And what's more, the Civic GLI is still under 20 grand.
With a powerful 4-stroke engine, unique ultra-comfortable soft grip handle, tough aluminium wheels, high air intake, and heavy-duty catcher. The Eagle Mower, new from Talon, tough tools.
You are so amazing. Such a strong little character already. What do you dream about? Where's a camera when you need one? Look at that smile. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Help us find an early detection test. Donate at any branch of the National or online at ocrf.com.au.
Welcome back to the concluding stages of the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour. This is the chase group, the main peloton. They're starting to break up. But up the front of this group, the AG2R boys of Simon Gerrans and the FDJ boys riding for Baden Cook have closed this gap down to 13 seconds. We've got 2 laps to go. Matt Goss, Chris Yongaward and Hilton Clark are desperately trying to hang on.
They are desperately trying to hang on, but Baden Cook is starting to run out of teammates to reel them back in. He's getting a little bit of support from the AG2R team. We saw Mitch Docker towards the front of that field there riding for Simon Gerrans. I noticed at the back of the field, just before they came around that bottom corner there, Matt Wilson was towards the back. Jean Debos was towards the back. They're the 2 guys that have been doing all the chasing. He's running out of teammates, Baden Cook, but the gap is continuing to close. We've got 1 rider trying to get off the front. It looks like one of the riders from the Amora Avita team. This could be Danius Karillis, who won the stage into Bendigo. He is a quick finisher.
Let's look for the leader, Simon Gerrans. There he is. He's well placed. He's about 4th wheel at the moment, and he's got Baden Cook in the green sprinters jersey just behind him. So that'll be Baden Cook's plan, just to send. We've got a rider down, and it's number 58. It's one of the Shimano boys, and they have had, well, they've had an interesting tour. That was Doy from Shimano. They started with 8. They were down to 5 before today.
And Matt Wilson just went round the corner then, so Cook has definitely lost Wilson. These 3 still working well together. They almost deserve it. They've been out there that long. This is Wesley Solzberger, one of the Tasmanians on the team of AG2R, and Nicholas Portal it is that comes to the front, one of the Frenchmen.
Well, lead riders are going to come around into Queensbury Street shortly as the chase goes down Rathdown Street. We've got another rider down. So it's starting to get pretty tiring. And Simon Clark from VIS Jayco has gone down. He's got Hilton Clark, his teammate, out in the break. He's back on his bike and continuing on, but you can see the mental fatigue as well as the physical fatigue is starting to take its toll on the commentators as well as the riders.
He'll be bitterly disappointed, Simon Clark, but his namesake Hilton Clark is still out in the front. They're not brothers. Hilton Clark's brother Johnny Clark is riding in this race with the Jayco VIS team. They're going to come around this final corner. They're going up towards the start-finish line. They'll get the bell lap. They'll have about a 10-second lead. They can't afford to start playing cat and mouse. If they'd like to have time to be able to play cat and mouse so as they could do something about Hilton Clark, it is going to come right down to the wire.
So here's the chase.
Well, this is the Bridgestone team from Japan. They've got Koji Fukushima in their team, and he's one of the stars of Japanese racing. He led the Tour of Langkawi for 4 days this year.
I think that group there, we just saw the Bridgestone team, the 3rd group on the road. So we're on the final lap, and we've got 3 riders away. Matt Goss, Chris Yongaward and Hilton Clark. They've been away, well, since almost the beginning of the race. They got away early. They opened up a gap of 40 seconds. They've been working well together, and they've just got to keep it going until they get down the back straight. And we just saw 10 seconds now, so it's going to get very exciting.
Well, Goss just swung off, and Hilton Clark called him into second wheel. And this is what Chris Yongaward was disappointed about in Hilton Clark the last time we saw them go down Rathdown Street, as they're starting to reel them in now. The big boys are from the Francais de Joux are coming up towards the front. The Japanese team are moving up as well. This bunch is completely disintegrated. Henk Vogels or Nick Gates it is towards the front as well. Brett Lancaster just waiting to pounce if they get reeled in.
Well, it looks like it's going to come down to a sprint finish, so they're not going to be able to go from a K out if you're Gerrans or if you're Lancaster. Well, Gerrans is not interested in trying to win the stage. He just wants to stay upright, cross the line with the arms in the air and take the tour for the 25-year-old from Jamison and the 3 leaders.
There's been a big crash in the back.
Massive crash, and they're all down. And Gerrans is down. Is that Gerrans? One of the Bicycle Superstore riders.
Lancaster is down.
Lancaster's down. A couple of Bicycle Superstore boys, and it looks like one of the Bridgestone riders, and they, along with the Shimano, have had a torrid tour. A big crash on the final corner for them, and these 3 riders now working hard. Yongaward's in front, Clark behind him, and then Goss, and the chasers are closing.
Hilton Clark has got himself in the perfect position. He's on the wheel of Yongaward. They're about 500 metres to go. Solzberger trying to reel them in. Maybe Simon Gerrans wants to go out with the stage winners, the tour winner as well. I don't think they're going to catch them. Hilton Clark, for mine, is the man to beat.
Well, Baden Cook is just sticking to the wheel of Simon Gerrans, but he might run out of metres here as Yongaward's looking left and right. Hilton Clark has a look over his shoulder, and just behind them is Goss. So Hilton Clark, if he takes this, he's going to win the sprint jersey. The Go For Your Life green jersey will be his. They're not going to catch them. They're in the final straight. 350 metres remaining. Yonga was in front. Hilton Clark hooks out. He's got Goss behind him. And then the chase group coming around the corner. So they're into the final straight. And Hilton Clark is dashing away. Goss is coming at him hard. Goss, he's going to get over the top. Does he? Hilton Clark just. Hilton Clark gets there ahead of Matthew Goss and Chris Yongaward. And there is a celebration.
You reckon he's happy? That was perfect timing from Hilton Clark. Second wheel into the corner, and he managed to pick up the win, only just holding off the Tasmanian and Matt Goss.
So Hilton Clark takes the stage win here in Lygon Street. He takes the Go For Your Life green sprinters jersey, and the winner of the tour, it's the 25-year-old from Jamison in the high country in Victoria, and that is Simon Gerrans. We'll get a shot of him shortly as the stragglers begin to come in. Well, what an effort from those three riders, and I hope Hilton Clark shares a little bit of the joy with Matthew Goss and also Chris Yongaward. An exciting finish. Well done, Hilton Clark.
Well, Hilton Clark, he certainly did deserve the win. He read the move perfectly. He knew he couldn't beat Baden Cook in a sprint finish. He got himself into the break. He's absolutely elated, and why shouldn't he be? But Matt Goss, didn't he come close? The youngest bike rider in the race. He upset Stuart O'Grady in December, and he nearly upset Hilton Clark, who's now getting congratulated by Baden Cook. He'll have to swap jerseys.
He can take it off him now. He's just found out that he's taken the 2 intermediate sprints. He had to do everything today. He had to win the 2 sprints, and he had to win the stage. And Baden Cook is just saying, well, I can't believe that. Here's the replay of the finish, and Hilton Clark, well, he just got there, didn't he? Almost moved off the line and put Goss into the barriers, which is what Baden Cook did into the stage in Shepparton, and what a celebration. It means a lot to a rider like Hilton Clark. He's a bit of a journeyman. He rides all over the world, but he's come here today in Carlton, and he's taken the final stage of the 2005 tour.
He just moved marginally to the right. He made Matt Goss go the long way around. That was well and truly legal, right within the margins of the rules. He knows the rules back to front, and he bent them to perfection to go at the stage winner. If he hadn't done that, Goss might have got him.
Probably a bit unfair bending them. He just
massaged them.
He just nudged them a fraction to the left or the right-hand side, Hilton Clark. Well, what an exciting finish, wasn't it? The Shimano. What about the Japanese riders here? The Shimano team, Bridgestone Anchor. They have been fantastic, in the Japanese national team as well. Fantastic here. They've been so aggressive and have had a couple of falls in this final stage. It really did get willing. Simon Gerrans is the tour winner, and there's the results of the final stage. Hilton Clark Jr. taking it out just ahead of Matt Goss and Chris Yongaward from Savings and Loans in 3rd place. So an exciting finish here to the final stage of the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour. We'll be back with the presentations after the break.
This man's a loving father. There's nothing he wouldn't do for his son. Absolutely nothing. Someday is the big one. The Criminal Intent season finale.
Think you solved it all?
We've saved the ultimate crime until last. And this time, you won't have a clue. The Criminal Intent season finale, 9 o'clock Sunday.
Tai Chi, the art of movement and meditation, has been practiced in China for centuries.
Fit together.
Unlock the secrets of Tai Chi over 2 DVDs in Learning the Moves, Connecting the Moves at all leading DVD retailers.
So AJ, some women dread going to the mechanic, but you found Repco authorised service very different, didn't you?
That whole idea of it being a harrowing experience, it just doesn't happen. Repco authorised service, they do the little things that really make a difference. The guys there are courteous. I'm talking to the mechanic. It's the kind of place that you could send your mother to.
Do they do new cars?
Yes, they can. No problem with your new car warranty.
So friendly Repco service you can rely on.
I was rapt.
It's package deal month at Doors Plus the No Fuss way. These interior doors, complete with handles, latches and hinges, fitted in your home for $1.99 each. Solid timber front and back door packages, both with locks, handles and hinges, fully fitted for only $8.99 the pair. How's this for a modern entry door? Solid and stylish. Again, complete with handles, latches and hinges, installed for $4.99. All with safe glass and paint and peel. What a deal. And we can paint, stain and deliver. For a free measure and quote, visit a Doors Plus showroom today. Doors Plus, no fuss.
The beautifully built Honda Civic GLI now comes with free air conditioning, along with standard SRS airbags, ABS brakes, a CD player, alloy wheels, a clever flat floor for more interior space. And what's more, the Civic GLI is still under 20 grand.
This is style. This is quality. This is Sortino. Our huge catalogue sale is on now, with everything in every store reduced for 10 days only. Sortino, world's best furniture, world's best prices.
Welcome back. Look at the crowd here in Lygon Street. The conclusion of the 2005 Jayco Herald Sun Tour. And an exciting finish. Hilton Clark Jr. taking out the stage win, and he's stolen the Go For Your Life sprint classification crown off Baden Cook. He got to 21 points, Cook in second on 16. But the tour winner, and this is what they'll all be talking about, is Simon Gerrans, and he is with Ian Cohen.
Thanks very much, David Colbert. Indeed, Simon Gerrans is with us. Simon, first up, congratulations. Tell us about today, the last stage.
Thanks very much. Today went perfectly for myself. My team rode awesome. They rode the front all day. They just controlled the race beautifully. They couldn't quite bring that breakaway back at the end there, but they did an excellent job of keeping me out of trouble. I can't thank them enough.
14 seconds you gained. You're wearing yellow after Mount Dandenong. How was last night? Bit sleepless?
Yeah, I didn't sleep too well last night. I was thinking a lot about today and how hard everybody's worked and how happy I am it's all come off.
The nerves would have been there, but there has been a lot of people, including Tour de France legend Phil Anderson, who's helped you get it across the line today.
Yeah, that's right. Phil got me started in cycling a few years ago, and he's one of the many that have helped me get to where I am today. All the way through from Phil, Dave Sanders at the VIS, John Beasley helped us out this week. He helped me get started in the sport. There's just my parents, my family here today, my sponsors that have helped me all the way through. There's just so many people I'd love to thank.
You've had a podium in the Tour de France stage 17. How does this compare taking out the Jayco Herald Sun Tour?
Of course, the Tour de France is the biggest bike race in the world. It's pretty special, but to win here, my hometown race, it doesn't get much better than this.
So what's on the agenda tonight then? You've been under wraps for the last week, making sure you did win it. What's on the agenda?
I might have a glass of champagne or two.
Simon Gerrans, the man that has taken out the 54th at Jayco Herald Sun Tour, and he's pretty happy, and no doubt we'll talk to his team in just a moment.
Well, he joined some famous names. Baden Cook was the last Australian to win in 2002, and then you had to go back to Neil Stevens in 1986. The International Raiders, we talk about them a lot when it comes to the Melbourne Cup, but they've dominated this race. They came in with very high hopes. We had 72 riders from overseas, half the peloton at the start of the race last Sunday. But this man has done it.
He has. Before the start of the race, he spoke about the fact that Lance Armstrong drinks champagne during the stage. Well, Simon Gerrans has just assured us that he's going to be drinking plenty of it this evening, might even start this afternoon. And doesn't he deserve it? He stealed pinched a little bit of time on the stage into Shepparton when he collected that stage there in the move that we expected from Brett Lancaster. Just congratulations between Hilton Clark and Simon Gerrans.
So the standings in the overall tour remain as they were coming in this morning. Simon Gerrans from AG2R takes the tour. He's in first place. He gets home ahead of Dominic Perrat, the Canadian riding for the HLP Bicycle Superstore team. He'll be 14 seconds ahead. Let's have a look at the crash, which we had a lot of riders that were getting very tired, and we had a couple of them go down. This was the one at the corner coming around from Lygon Street to Grattan Street. It was one of the Bridgestone Anchor boys who went down first, and Lancaster had nowhere to go, and then everybody was into the barriers.
Well, it was Miyazawa, the Japanese rider, that went down. He just lost it going around that left-hander. And did you see that there from Glenn Mitchell? Glenn Mitchell almost took a little bit of a swipe at him. He wasn't impressed at all, and Brett Lancaster's not impressed. He just lost control going too quickly around the corner.
Well, I hope he's okay. One of his teammates during the week actually broke his handlebars on a descent going at 90 kilometres an hour, and he had nowhere to go but hit the tarmac, and they made a mess of the barriers. 113 there, the Bicycle Superstore rider is Glenn Mitchell.
Glenn Mitchell is giving him an absolute spray.
Well, these things happen in a bike race. We had a couple of riders go down. We saw Simon Clark from the VIS Jayco team go down also. Huge crowd here. It's the spiritual home of Australian cycling, or Melbourne cycling. Of course, they go down the Bay Road. We've got the big ride around the Bay on tomorrow here, but this is the cafe culture, and we've got Nino Bassari's bicycle shop just up the street here, an Olympic cyclist, and the club riders are all out in force. We had the Victorian Championships on this morning. It's been a great day.
It has been a great day down here in Lygon Street, and it's been a fantastic tour as well. Baden Cook managed to take out 2 stage wins. He was disappointed with his relegation in Shepparton. Maybe he's justified in his disappointment there as well. We hit the stage in a Bendigo. Danius Kyrillis, he won the stage there ahead of Matt Lloyd, and Kyrillis we started to think about as a possible contender, but congratulations to Simon Gerrans. What an impressive performance yesterday, to the top of Mount Dandenong, finishing second on the stage and taking the yellow jersey by 14 seconds.
Here was the final sprint to the line. Yonga Ward, who'll probably have words with Hilton Clark at the end of the day, expressing his complete dissatisfaction on a couple of occasions. Clark got away, and then Matthew Goss, the 18-year-old from Tasmania, he wasn't going to give in. Hilton Clark went very early for a sprinter. He probably went 250 metres out. He was really climbing here. Goss gets to him, doesn't quite, and the throw at the line sees Hilton Clark just take out the stage, and then the celebrations begin. But what an experience for Matthew Goss.
Well, Matt Goss, he was just off the back of the wheel of Hilton Clark coming around that last corner. He needed to either back off him before that corner and take a run out of him, or be tighter on the wheel. He was reeling him in over that last 50 kilometres, but Hilton Clark, he's a class sprinter. He's beaten Robbie McEwen before in a sprint in that sort of fashion in the Jayco Bay Cycling Classic, which happens in January. He's a hard man to come over the top of with just 50 metres to go. He knows where the finish line is.
Well, it certainly hasn't been without its controversy, this tour. We started off in Williamstown last Sunday with a team time trial. We had a fantastic Bendigo to Bendigo stage on Monday. The Bendigo to Shepparton stage was the one that everyone was talking about, where Baden Cook got relegated, a 30-second time penalty. As we said, flown in by helicopter from Shepparton to Nagambie to have a look at the what happened. On Wednesday, we went from Mitchelton Winery to Marysville, where Baden Cook was the man. The climb up Mount Dandenong followed the tour of the Yarra Valley, and then we finish here in Lygon Street. The classifications, Hilton Clark takes the Go For Your Life sprint jersey. The team's classification will be won by Simon Gerrans' AG2R team. The best young rider goes to Peter Hatton, representing Australia. He's had a fantastic tour because he's also got the King of the Mountain. But when they ride in a big tour, they ride for the yellow jersey. And this year, it's Simon Gerrans, who has had a magnificent year. He got a late call up to the Tour de France. He got on the podium, climbing up the mountains on stage 17. He's come back and he has won this tour. Let's go down to Ian Cohen.
Thanks very much indeed, guys, and what a great tour it has been. We've had a magnificent week out and on the road around provincial Victoria, seeing some of the best that we've got to offer here in Victoria, and the 54th Jayco Herald Sun Tour has been taken out by Simon Gerrans. He becomes only the 3rd Australian to win this great event in the last 20 years. So for Simon Gerrans, he certainly does join illustrious company, and a terrific result for the AG2R team. They worked very, very hard today, and of course the other results all fantastic as well. It's been great to have the new format. We've had a lot of international riders, teams from America and from Europe as well. So the Jayco Herald Sun Tour has been a ripper this year, and it goes to Simon Gerrans. He takes out the yellow jersey. What a magnificent tour it's been, and of course the coverage all the way through on the 10 network. Thanks for joining us today from Lygon Street in Carlton.